So you've seen our previous videos, Axtang here is a dual-purpose autocross and track car. One of the things I'd actually like to get into though is drifting. Now, you don't want to buy another drift car, so in this build series here I'm going to go over some of the changes I'm going to make to the car so it can still do autocross and track days effectively, but also have a blast at drifting. Now I know a lot of you are saying, why are you taking your track car and going drifting with it? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First one is, it's a lot of fun. Second one is, it really teaches you car control, and I really found it like completely the opposite of everything they teach you in autocross and road racing. You have to put in traction or put in throttle everywhere where you normally don't, and I just found that really fun and challenging. And not to mention the amount of car control is required for drifting, I think will make you a better driver overall. The other thing you're probably wondering about is, well, don't you get your car all smashed up with other people? Well, no. There are 3 different classes of drivers, A, B, and C, with C being only by yourself. So there might be like one other car a few seconds behind you if it's kind of a segmented course or something. At the oval I go to, you're the only one on there and you get 2 minutes to go around the oval and then you're out. So it's very safe and it's fairly cheap. I think tires are really the most expensive thing. The entry fees are usually only like 50 bucks and you get tons of seat time. Okay, so if you haven't seen in our previous videos, about a year ago I went drifting with Sarah Harrow from Hyperdrive at a big drift event, although all I had was some of my old heat cycled out race tires, giant 335s. It was very hard to get a drift together, way too much front grip. So fast forward a year, I finally got a set of skinnier tires and went drifting. And had a little bit more success, although as you saw in the last video, the Nexen and Farahs that I had actually delaminated after a while because they got so hot. Because they're not really traditional drift tires, they're more road race and autocross tires that were just very old that one of my friends let me have. So going forward, I'm going to make some changes to the car that are not permanent per se or won't impede the autocross and track day ability of the car. It might add a little bit of weight here and there, but the goal of this project is still be able to do all of them. Now the car probably won't be able to do all of them well, but it should be able to do all of them pretty good. So one of the first things I did is I got a better drift tire. So I got these Kenda Kazers. They're 300 tread wear, 265, 35/18. They're only $97 a piece. It's something one of the drifter guys recommended to me. That or the Federal RSR, which is a little bit more expensive. That is what the professional drifters actually use. But for now, I'm gonna use that. Now I did buy an extra set of 18x9s. Now, as you know, with my car, it has these wicked fender flares, as I normally run an 18x12. So as you saw in the last video, I just said, nah, screw it. Let's just see if the car can even do it with the, the torsion diff it has, if it's even fun, you don't want to, spend too much money on something you don't even know you're gonna like. So the last event had a total blast, so now I'm ready to invest a little bit more money. Now I'm not gonna do like a handbrake just yet. I'm gonna see if I really do need it, which I probably will, but that'll be saved for a later video. Okay, so one of the things that bugged me in the last drift I did was that the wheels were inset way too much because I have the fender flares and I'm usually running 18x12 with I think a 3mm offset. So I'm running these fairly sketchy 1.5 inch spacer. I would not recommend running these on the street. I am only gonna run these in drift and only like a slower drift. If I ever do, like a faster drift, I'm just gonna order a special set of wheels. But most of the drifting I'm gonna be doing is gonna be less than 50 miles an hour. So these are like a machined aluminum. And the only thing I do like is they do have the special hub lip here, which will keep the wheel nice and centered. Now I will say, if you do get some of these and you have ARP studs like I do, because it's a track car, you want ARP studs on a track car running giant slicks. You will need to find a tire with, you will need to find a wheel with a lot of relief. And what I mean by that is the wheels here have a lot of relief so you can have your studs kind of sticking out. I found these are the American Muscle 2010 style OEM Mustang wheels. They're only $119, I think, on Black Friday right now. So they're a pretty good price for what they are. And I just rattle can them bronze to match the 18x12s. So at least in photos, the car looks pretty similar to when it does when it's out racing on track or at Autocross. So one of the next things I did is I went to the rear sway bar and went from full soft on the sway bar to full hard. So I noticed when I was drifting at the last event, I could tie together a drift, but sometimes the rear end would kind of catch traction and kind of snap back. I'm not good enough to know if maybe that would help, but I'm pretty sure setting the rear sway bar to full stiff will make it a lot more tail happy, and I'm thinking it'll make it a little bit easier to drift. So one of the other things I did is I removed the steering rack limiters. Now there's a great video by Chris Fixit about how to do this with his Mustang drift car, and if you're watching this and you don't have a Mustang, I'm pretty sure most cars have these in their power steering racks. All you have to do is get underneath the car, remove the boot, and there are these little plastic thingies on most cars where you can just remove them. Now in my car, I had to cut this little notch. They were completely on there, or else I would have had to use a puller to get everything off. It was a huge pain in the butt. So I just very carefully dremeled them off. Now going forward, the bigger 18x12 road racing wheels I have will hit. So I think one of the things I do is instead of using the lock clamps on the power steering boots, I'm just gonna get some hose clamps and I can switch them out, or I could just be careful, because if I'm doing full lock with the 18x12, something's usually probably going wrong anyway. So what this enables is I get I think about 9 or 10 degrees more steering angle. So in a drift, you know, it kind of just stops you from spinning out. So we're gonna see what effect that has at the next drift event. Well, I hope you enjoyed that short little video going over how I'm prepping the car for the next drift event. Be sure to tune in for that video. We're gonna have some cool new tools and cameras. I ordered the Mavic Mini drone. Hopefully we can get some cool shots out at Orlando Speed World. That's it. Thanks for watching.